Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of Grot and Rat, Squigs, Skaven, and Sigmar. I am your host, Ryan, and I'm joined by...
Rob the Rat.
There we go. Yeah, we had a pretty Jeff and amazing response to episode 1, so a huge thank you to everybody who watched the video, all the likes, new subscribers, everything like that. Huge thank you for that. Yeah.
It's definitely unexpected.
Yeah, so hopefully this one's better. We have fresh batteries in the camera. We have a battery pack coming for the camera. I'm just stupid and bought the wrong one. But, you know, hey, we promised we'd get better, and hopefully this one is better.
Only go up from here.
You'll notice that Rob has a pop filter on now as well, because apparently the microphone that we have for Rob doesn't like him. So
I'm loud. I work in kitchens. It happens.
But yeah, it's been a great week just watching people check it out, you know, listening to the community feedback. Yeah, just a far and above the response that I ever thought we would get.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's pretty damn awesome. Yeah.
So
what have you been doing hobby-wise, if anything? And I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but these guys don't.
Oh, you mean nothing but sleep and work? Actually, I've been tweaking that Skaven list.
Oh, well, that's good.
So for the warp cog, actually, because I want to go pew pew pew.
Yeah, that's fair.
Time. So I've been tweaking on that. We did get the Hell Pit Abomination put together.
That's true. That was this week.
So yep. When it will be painted, probably, you know.
I would imagine minutes before the next tournament.
I mean, no, because you promised me that if we got it painted before the next tournament, you would cover my ticket. So that is a goal. That is a goal. I kind of want to prove you wrong on that one.
That'd be good. I would love you to do that.
So
no, that's really good. I've been working on my pink Iron Jaws. So I painted actually on stream. I was streaming. I got back into streaming on Twitch.
Ooh.
So that was kind of neat. I got the Mega Boss pretty much finished. The Mega Boss on foot. So I'll have some photos of him up on my Instagram pretty soon. I don't have him out here.
Didn't you get the dude?
I did.
What is he called? The Maul?
Yeah, Gordrak, the Fist of Gork, on Maw Crusher. Yeah, big old fist. So yeah, I got him built. In fact, I built him at the same time as you were doing. I built a ton of stuff.
How was building that kit?
Oof. It's a great kit. It went together really well. What I found with it, so the build instructions kind of tell you where to keep it apart for painting and stuff like that, but especially with the wings, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to paint it and then build it. I felt like I just needed to build it all the way. The Gordrak, the Mega Boss, he's not on there. He's separate, so that's fine. I'll paint them separate, but yeah, the kit itself was a lot of fun to build. And he's massive too. The base is like a dinner plate.
Yo, that thing was huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So, but yeah, he was good. I built a ton of Lumineth heroes, like the little foot heroes. I built the Plague Pack.
Yes.
The actual Plague.
I think you got all that built by the time I got the Hell Pit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's because the Hell Pit is just an older kit, or if it's because that thing was just a kind of a pain in the butt to put together.
I think that it was a mixture of both. Because I started Gordrak before you'd even turned up to the house.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Gordrak was like a good way done before you came over. And then, because I think I had like the most of the body built, and although the pose isn't symmetrical, the build is very symmetrical. So, you know, you build one side, you build the other, then you bring them together, then you put the head on, and it's pretty much done.
Yeah, because that Hell Pit was definitely not symmetrical at all. I didn't even know it had a wheel. Guys, if you didn't know this, it has a wheel behind it. I never seen that thing before. But yeah, it's an odd shape. So like the 6 heads and the different. I mean, I like the customization on the kit.
That is cool.
I definitely ended up with a few little bit of extra
Readleys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can kit bash another one very together.
Yeah.
Little 3D print, and you just glue on the extra heads and arms
go.
and stuff like that. But that kit was definitely not symmetrical at all.
No.
It's super weird.
Yeah, and like the stuff that I was building was all super easy too, because like the Plague Packs all push fit because they're a Warcry warband, so you know they just go together. I barely even needed to use much glue for them. Yeah.
I just thought of a pun. That kit was a real abomination.
Hey.
We're gonna have to cut that.
Yeah, that's not making the final cut. But yeah, so the pink orcs, I'm super excited for. So I sort of I came to paint my Iron Jaws pink in a really weird way. So I saw I think it's Rogue Hobbies has the hot dark pink Monument Hobbies color, which is a super good color, by the way. Definitely worth picking that up. And I got that, and then a hot pink, and sorry, no, a pink, and then a pale pink or whatever. And then I was like, oh man, that'd be great. I'm gonna paint my Iron Jaws in pink. And then afterwards, I sort of added lore to them, which I don't really do for my armies because I usually go like box art. But long story short, there's a character in Warhammer Plus on the TV shows and in the Stormcast books and stuff called Hamilcar. He's like a larger than life, very flamboyant, says he's the best of all the time, and he wears pink armor because of the Stormcast chamber that he's a part of. Wears that sort of like dark burgundy armor. So my head canon for the Iron Jaws is they all made their armor pink because Hamilcar says he's the best, so he's the best because he's in pink armor. They're in pink armor, whatever. So like a little bit of
that makes sense.
A little bit of fluff.
I can see that.
But yeah, it's going to be a slow process. While I was painting the mega boss, I was like, what if I glazed the hot? What if I glazed the pale pink over the hot pink? So glazing, for those of you that don't know, is where you glazing is where you basically get that you water the paint down.
Okay.
And then what I do, I forget who it was that sort of gave me this like sort of way to glaze. It might have been JT Stark, who's a fantastic streamer on Twitch. It might have been Mini Ruckus. It was one of the two of those. Both of those guys are amazing. Anyway, you basically, once you have the wet, thin paint on your brush, then you wick it off on a paper towel, and then you paint with that. And the paint will go a very long way, but it's very transparent. So it basically tints.
Almost like dry brushing?
Almost. It's like a reverse wash.
Okay.
So yeah, it's almost like a reverse wash is how I kind of describe it. Because, a wash is like very pigment dense and very wet, whereas glazing is pigment light and low flow. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
We'll master it.
You'll show me it, and it'll make more sense once we just
But glazing takes a while because if you want to, it's very good for building up color depth, but you have to do a lot of layers to do that. Now the advantage I had was I was doing pink on pink, so I'm basically building up colored interest, which is great, and it looks good. It just takes a while because I basically have to paint the same areas 5 times probably, because I go in with like the hot dark pink. That's one layer. Well, yeah, that's one layer. Then I go in with like the pale pink, with a mix in the hot pink and the pale pink, and then
you have to like let it dry and stuff like that too.
So it takes a while. And then when I got done with the skin, one of the things that I think it was an Instagram video. I've got no idea whose it was. Basically, they were painting orc flesh with orange in the green. And I was like, I'll give it a go. Why not? And like if you have like a sort of a rusty orange color mixed with your green, and I glazed the green as well, which also took time. The skin looks great. Like I say, there'll be some photos of that up on my Instagram here in a little bit. And like we have a Discord coming. There'll be photos in the Discord too. But yeah, that was my hobbying this week. So a lot of good stuff got done. We built a ton. I painted some, not very much. And I did paint some of the Iron Jaw Ard boys as well. I got like the base coats on them.
So that takes you down to.
We're not going to count. We're not going to count yet. We're not going to count until it's a respectable number.
Oh, okay.
Once I'm like, oh yeah, no, I've got like 50 models painted. Then we can start counting, because then it'll be like 50 of like 1,000 or whatever. But like 50 of 1,000 sounds better than 1 of 1,000, because that's what I actually got.
I mean, 1 is more than what I got done. Well, so,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but yeah, no, that was my hobbying this week. I have a lot of building to do still. I got some new boxes in this week. And yeah, I'm gonna have to work on those.
Yeah. And Chaos Dwarfs is coming in 6 days, guys.
Yeah, so. Chaos Dwarfs is coming up very soon. So I'm very excited to pick those guys up, get them built and painted. I think once I have them built and painted, I think once I have them built, I'm gonna pivot into fully painting that spearhead box as it comes out, because I feel like if I start off painting it as it comes in, then when I add to the army, it's going to be a lot easier to just get the box built, paint it straight away, and then keep the army that way. That's what I think I'm going to do with the Chaos Dwarves.
I do kind of like how it was released as a spearhead. Not gonna lie, I was expecting more of a bigger battle force box style.
Like the Git Mob, like the Death Rattle, like the Dark Oath. That's what I was expecting. It's kind of nice to do the spearhead.
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I think the Death Rattle was spearhead plus a few models because so I'm a retailer, so I sell it, and I picked up the new Spearhead Combat Patrol, and for the Death Rattle, it comes with 40 models. It is actually a big spearhead, all things considered, model wise. You know what I mean? Right. So, I mean, they're all skeletons, and they're all probably going to die almost instantly because little models. But still, 40 models for a box is really not bad. I mean,
no, it really isn't.
I feel like it's one of those boxes where you can pick up multiples of. You know what I mean?
That's the big thing with the spearhead boxes that I think that they need to focus more on at Games Workshop is, so I think maybe it's the current one, maybe it's the previous one, the Flesh Eater Courts one, comes with Gormain, I want to say.
Like named character, though.
Yeah, he's a named character. And, they do this a lot with the Combat Patrol stuff, too. Anytime they include a named character in the box, I think that they destroy the buy twice value.
So can you theoretically, is he named character and super unique?
He's unique. So there's no, if you have Grand Justice Gormain, that's it. You have him. There's not like, it's not like Gordrak, right? So Gordrak, you have him, or you can do a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher.
Yeah. And they look almost very similar, so you
could... The Maw Crusher is identical. Well, that's not true. There is a slight difference because there's like a falconry hood on Gordrak's.
Okay, yeah, but realistically speaking, no one's gonna pick them up and be like, "This is super different."
Yeah, right. But Gormain, it's like there's the Cardinal, and then there's Gormain, but they're nowhere near the same. So it's not like you could paint them differently and they would look, because Gormain looks like an old British judge with the wig.
Okay.
So it's not like he's a named character and another foot hero.
I see.
So I feel like they trash the rebuy or the buy twice value of a box when they do that, unless you have a friend who also collects that army. So let's say you and I, they come out with a new Skaven box and it comes with Screech, right? Screech is a bad example because you can build him like nine different ways.
Yeah, technically he's a vermin lord. So
let's say it comes with Vizek.
Yeah, okay.
Right? I know you already have Vizek, but let's pretend for a moment you don't. Let's say that the box comes with Vizek and 20 Clan Rats and a Warp Lightning Blaster. And you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. I really like the Warp Lightning Blaster. I want to build it. There's 2 ways to build that?
No.
There's just one?
You're thinking of the Warp Lightning Vortex, which is in the old Spearhead, and that's one of those boxes where you can literally buy 2 of, and you're set.
Because that one you can do Plague, Claw, or Warp Lightning.
Yep, right. Plague, Claw, and then it comes with 3 Storm Fiends as well, too.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. So
that's a great box.
Banging box, yeah.
So, but let's say that it comes with Vizek, 20 Clan Rats, and Warp Lightning Blaster. And I'm like, oh man, that's great. I really want to run 2 Warp Lightning Blasters, and I'm definitely going to reinforce my Clan Rats. But then I have Vizek. I can't run him as anything else.
Yeah.
It's not like Screech, where there's 9 different ways to build him. Yeah. If it came with Screech, that would be a great box, because then I'm like, oh, well, I want to run a Deceiver and I want to run Screech.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy 2 boxes, because then I have my reinforced Clan Rats, my 2 Warp Lightning Blasters, and 2 different Vermin Lord Deceiver and Screech, or however it's done. But because Vizek is just Vizek, that's it.
Yeah.
So like he's unique. I can't run 2 of them. So then I've got to buy that box twice. I'd be like, hey, Rob, did you want to buy Vizek? And then,
Yeah. It's like a Stormcast that with Unestra, right?
Yeah. So that was one of the things with the Dominion box. So if you bought the Dominion box as a Stormcast player, it was great apart from Indrasta. And then the Spearhead has Indrasta in it, which I don't know if they sell that separately. They must have. Yeah, I don't know, actually.
I would have to look into that.
Yeah, me too. So, because I know that she's one of the ones that they did for sure. And again, same deal. But the Cruel Boys half, everybody was just non-unique.
Oh, so you buy 2 of those and you can make yourself up.
Right. And like the Killer Boss on Ashtooth is superb. So you could run a couple of him, 2 Mergnobs, 2 Swampcaller. Back then, 2 Swampcaller Shamans was great because you would just run a couple of those guys handing out the mortals in third, not now. But yeah, so I feel like they need to focus more on if they want to sell more. If they have a ton of Indrasta sprues sitting around, which they probably do, that's probably why they've done it that way.
Yeah.
They just sell them off, and that's fine because they would rather sell 1,000 of them, sell 1,000 of her, than maybe sell 1,500, but like not have a drastic sell. I guess I don't know. I don't really know how that works, but in any case, I think that they do a good job for the most part. I know that in 40k, especially with I want to say it was Grey Knights Combat Patrol, I think that they did a very bad job with that one because doesn't it have some named character in it that you?
That's the new one that they just dropped because their old Combat Patrol was great actually because they came with the 2 of the baby carriers as they call them.
Yes.
The new one comes with the box Dreadnought, which it's gonna be kind of weird because I'm pretty sure he's gonna go the way of the Dodo in next edition. So I'm pretty sure they're trying to get those off the shelf,
right? I think I don't remember if I showed you. I have from the Leviathan box. I have the Ballistus Dreadnought.
Oh, he's so much bigger. I didn't think he was gonna be that much
wild. And then I have like a Dreadnought from Assault on Blackreach, which I think is 6th or 7th edition. Maybe 8th. I think it's 6th or 7th. That's the one that I gave you the choppers out of.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you compare those two, and it's like it's you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. Yeah. But yeah, no. So anyway, just getting getting back to the point. The Chaos Dwarfs Spearhead box is going to be fantastic, I think. And then when they drop more stuff, which I think they'll probably announce something today, I guess, because we're recording on a Sunday. Today is Sunday?
Today is Sunday. I have to check my emails. See what's going
on. But yeah, there'll be more of that stuff coming out. I would think this week. Because I think pretty much everybody is like getting on the Chaos Dwarf train.
Yep.
So
it's one of the few I was talking to my rep, and it's one of the few Age of Sigmar things that went like hotcakes. They sold out almost instantly.
Yeah. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. So
well, it's either that or they're gonna release them like 2 weeks from now. Because I think they do like an Age of Sigmar release, and then they do like a 40k one, and then I think sometimes they'll tie in like Necromunda or the other one.
Yeah,
they kind of alternate with that.
Right. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna check here in a little bit, and I guess we'll figure out what's happening with that. But I thought for this episode, seeing as there are, we talked a little bit about this in the last episode. Kind of looking at the battle tomes, looking at the factions. Rob even has his book. He's so prepared. Looking at the factions, looking at Cruel Boys, looking at Skaven, and what we think is the I guess let me pull up my notes.
The good, the bad, what can be improved, ways to build this. It's like a little overview of it. Pretty much. So at least what I plan to do with Skaven, I don't care about his notes. I'm just gonna go on my own tangent thing right here.
Yeah, quite right.
But at least we're doing Skaven. And in this particular case, I just kind of want to go over, what feels good, what can be like slight improvements. I do feel like their models and units and points are pretty good. Actually, I'm one of the few lucky ones. The variety of how you can build your list is actually pretty good. You can go good number of different ways.
Yeah, that's for sure. What do you think is? What do you think works really well this GHB compared to how they've worked previously?
So I didn't get a ton of games in the last edition, and I actually got into Skaven kind of late because everyone told me, "Hey, don't buy these models. They're going to be
range refresh,
and they're pretty old." So I unfortunately / fortunately didn't. But it looks like the way they did it was I think they used to do something where it's kind of similar where your heroes would determine what you were running. So if I wanted to do like Clan Skyer, I would need to include a certain number of Skyer heroes to bring on those units. And I think what they kind of did was just similar concept. If I want to bring a certain amount of war machines, I do need Skyer or Master Clan heroes, but they kind of let off the brake a little bit of that, so I can do a little bit more mix and match with it.
Right.
And not get a super hard penalty for soup, so to speak.
Yeah, because we talked a little bit about that with the Big War, where you have this sort of weird balancing act that you have to kind of do, and they definitely had that previously with Skaven. So it's nice that they got rid of that. It's weird that they kept it for Big War, but yeah, it's definitely nice that they did that.
So I mean, obviously the stuff back things like the warp cog and flesh meld are going to benefit certain other, I understand why they did that. I think it's pretty fun, so if you want to lead in, like, my new list is going to be a warp cog list, which is definitely going to lean a little bit harder into the shooters and all that, compared to like running a whole bunch of like rat ogres and monsters and stuff.
Rat ogres.
But yeah, we're gonna talk about rat ogres.
Oh boy,
I have some thoughts on rat ogres. Everyone's telling me they're great, but they're good, but
yeah,
maybe I'm just playing them wrong.
No, for sure. I think that, I mean, with the amount of games we've played, and with being a Skaven player myself too, I definitely feel like they are in a great spot. Well, not a great spot. They're in a good spot with a lot of things. I feel like their points are a tiny bit high.
Yes. Well, specifically for heroes, because
and clan rats.
Yes. Yes. So that was my one thing that I my heart kind of sank when I saw they were at 150. Don't get me wrong. Recursion's great. Bringing back models is great. Being able to bring back 10 of them at the end of the round with a command point, yes, I can see how strong that is.
Or 20.
Or 20 if you want to run reinforced. But that being said, they are like a wet paper towel. You sneeze and rats run off. And yep, don't get me wrong, that's how rats are. They're supposed to be scared little little things that you can just squish. But the thing that made Skaven fun for me, at least, or like the bits that I saw in the last editions, was being able to run massive bricks of clan rats for cheap and just send them to go forth and die.
Yeah, because we've talked about this, not on here, but we've talked about this a bunch, where it feels like there's such a gulf, more than, I think it's 30 points of difference between a unit of storm vermin and a unit of clan rats.
Yes,
it feels like the storm vermin, for being only 30 points less than the clan rats, they have one less save, they have the same amount of wounds. So just from a very basic math point of view, 10 wounds saving on a 4 is effectively 20 wounds, whereas 20 wounds saving on a 5 is effectively a third of that, so like 8. So it's like effectively 28 wounds.
Yeah.
So you have effectively 8 more wounds. And I mean, I know it doesn't exactly work like that, and that's not really a good way to look at it, but you have a much bigger board presence. You have a lot of ways to get +1 to your save. All our defense is super easy. It's only it's a command point. And you can spend 1 command point to get 150 points worth of clan rats back, right? If you run a reinforced set.
Yeah.
And being able to spend 1 command point, which is a resource you get a lot of, especially for the underdog, being able to just drop 1 command point for 150 points worth of models is huge.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I do see why they cost them, but it was a big jump from being 100 points. That extra 50 points does make a huge difference.
I think that somewhere in between, probably in like the 130 mark, is probably where I think that the clan rats need to be.
Yep. Because the way they have it costed right now, it's just like I said, the heroes. So my again, the weirdest, not complaint, but the heroes don't have a whole lot of synergies.
Yeah.
And they're pointed just a little bit weird, in my opinion. Like they're like, it's only 10, 20 points like for a difference, but I feel like if you want to keep them without the synergies, drop them 10, 20 points, and that way I can bring more clan rats on the board.
Yeah.
And like for storm vermin, like I said, we're a little tinged about storm vermin. They're my elite infantry. They need an extra point of health. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Them being a one pip of health,
Yeah, saving on a 4 is fine. I think that's a good number for them. I think that the easiest change would be to make them make them 2 health, like you say. Keep the attack profile the same.
Yep.
Keep the hit and wound the same.
Yep. And maybe give them the ability to also, when they're next to a hero, get the ward, the 5-up ward for themselves when they're next to a hero as well.
Yeah.
I
think you do that instead of the extra health. I think you do one or the other, because I think if you give them a 5-up ward and 2 health, then I think that they're too strong for their points. Then I think if you do that, then their points have to go up by a lot.
Yeah,
I think if you change that so that they're 2 health, 5-up ward when they're near a hero, a foot hero, infantry hero. I think that they need to be like 100.
You know what they could do is make them 150 with all that, and then make the clam rats 120. Yeah, essentially. You know what I mean? So just kind of flip them out and give them a small amount of buff.
Because I think if you did that with, even 180, I think would be a fair number to pay for 20 wounds on a 4-up save with a 5-up ward.
Yeah.
With 3 attacks each.
Yeah.
Because then a reinforced block at 360 would be that's a really good unit, a really strong tar pit unit with the ability to be a hammer as well. I think that they would be good, because right now they just don't feel as useful as they should be.
No, they don't. And even if I do bring them on, they die like the clam rats essentially. And just like I said, I mean, they're for elite infantry. Again, I know they're rats. You know what I mean?
They are the elite small base infantry that the army has.
Yeah.
Or the most elite, we should say.
Yes. But like I said, for 360, like, it gives them a reason to be there. Right now I only bring them on if you
can't afford the clan rats, that's where you put it.
Yep. And again, it's just they don't the screen potential for them isn't even as good either, because 10 models, you know what I mean? I can't double stack them as well.
Yeah, and they would make a great screen at 360 with the anti-charge, because then they're 2 rend, 2 wounds, 4-up save. If you get the I forget the name of the prey that gives them the -1 to be wounded.
Yep, and then if you do the double, the enhanced version, it's also +1 to your save too as well. So
I think that if you change clan rats that way, I think that there's a huge potential. Sorry, not clan rats. Both storm vermin and clan rats. I think if you change them to be like that, I think that they would feel, to me, like they should.
Yeah.
And
then the other thing, or since we're on the topic of that, are claw lords. Both of them just feel so bleh, to be honest with you.
Yes, 100%. Especially the Norbeast guy.
Yes. Like I said, the 5 extra control score, it doesn't really. I mean, it's nice, but you can't control anything if all your models are dead.
You kill 5 extra models, you get the same benefit.
Yep.
On a 1, but yeah.
But essentially that, and I was looking at his movement. He moved 9. So again, if you were to give him like an extra, like instead of the control score, again, either giving them a bonus to charge would be nice, so they can keep up with him,
or even keep he does D3 mortals to them, because I feel like that's a good flavorful rule for him to have. But he gives them 3 inches extra movement for D3 wounds.
Yep,
that would be great. Because then you get the extra movement, and movement is incredibly powerful. So maybe it's an extra D3 of movement. I don't know. D3 mortal wounds, that amount of mortal wounds that you take, you get that much extra movement. That's a little bit of a hassle to kind of deal with. But because it's like, okay, well, they take D3 wounds. I took 2, they move 2. You gotta kind of know that, I guess. Maybe the +1 to charge or something like that is good. Or even the ability to re-roll a failed charge, which is big, and we already have access to that through command points. But having another area to access it without having to spend the CP is good.
Or at the very least, when they bring back, you can roll an extra dice with your D3 to see how many bring back.
Exactly. Maybe you get a D3 plus X, or you get a 2D3, or he turns it from a D3 to a D6.
Yep, that would be nice. You know what I mean? And then the same thing, Claw Lord on foot. Like, yes, I can fight immediately right after that, but we're realistically fighting on 4s and 5s. Like, even if I can fight twice with that model, or fight immediately right after, it's not a whole lot of attacks that they're going through.
No,
and even if they go through, the damage can be easily saved away. Right.
Yeah, because most other fight simultaneously or fight immediately after abilities like that are +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 attacks, +1 to rend, even something like that. Or it turns it from crit auto wounds to crit mortals. I feel like there should be some benefit to the squad that's fighting after that they get from having that hero there.
I would really like a +1 to hit, so 4s and 4s for regular clan rats.
Yeah,
that would be great. And then it could turn your storm
+1 to wound.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, +1 to wound.
Right.
And then it will turn your storm vermin into like I think it's like 3s and 4s, so 3s and 3s maybe. So
3s and 3s would be great for storm vermin if they have a hero that they're effectively guarding, and all that kind of stuff. Because Critic, I forget what he gives storm vermin. I think
he does give them. You know, I have the book
yeah, you have the book right there.
So while we're
yeah
there, I'm pretty sure he does give them a +1 to wound.
That's what it's something.
He does something.
He does something. He's actually a pretty cool. He's a great model too. He'll be right near the start, right?
Yeah, I think so. There we go.
There he is.
So, yep, I have 1 to wound rolls for friendly store vermin while they're wholly within 13.
Which is a super good ability because then that brings them to 3s and 3s.
Yep.
And you know, he does not have the fight simultaneously ability though, right?
No, but I think what he can do. No, that's only for his character. No, he does not have the fight simultaneously.
Yeah, because he has strikes first
on his model.
Yeah. But then he can't make ward rolls.
He can't do cannot use commands.
Oh, so that's not so bad.
Yeah, not terrible. I mean, but it only affects him. So
yeah, I mean, it just means that you lose all out defense. But yeah, if you kill everybody, you don't need all out defense. So
yep, I mean that's true. And then storm vermin are 3s and 4s.
So yeah, 3s and 3s when they're near him is pretty good.
Yep.
So, and especially if you have a reinforced unit of them, you know, that's what 50. No, they're 3 attacks each. So
3 attacks each.
So 60 attacks.
60 attacks.
60 attacks. 3s and 3s. 1 rend. 2 if they got charged.
Yep.
That's not nothing.
Yep. Well, like I said, it would be. I think that would make the storm vermin feel like a good. It makes him feel good to bring him along. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it gives you a reason to not just fill points and just
right. It's just I can't afford to bring clan rats. I'm gonna just bring storm vermin.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think? What do you think? That's I went very I said think instead of think.
Oh
yeah, sorry, rat think, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think is one of the best abilities? Because I know you're leaning into Warpcog right now. What do you think one of the best things that they can do outside of just the rules of that they have? What do you think is one of the best things that you can do with Warpcog?
With Warpcog specifically, my go-to combo, and I'm going to test this one out. It's a little expensive to do, but the weapons team, the Scourgers, I think that is going to be disgusting because the Scourgers hit on 2s, wound on 4s, so it'll drop it to 3s, and the amount of attacks, because it's 2d6 for each model, and I have 6 of them.
Yep.
So that can put out and crit 2 hits too as well.
Yeah.
So you essentially, if I roll really, really hot, I think I can start with a little bit less than 60 attacks going through.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's hitting on 2s unless I roll very poorly. Most of them are gonna transfer to the 1 rolls.
Yeah. Which is nice because especially if you're winning on 4s, you get 16% of your. So let's say it's 60 because I think is it the Arch Warlock or the Galvanier that gives them it gives them 10.
That is the Galvanier. Yeah.
Yeah.
For once per battle, you can just set their attack characteristics at 10.
Yeah. So let's assume that it's the 60. So you get basically 50-ish attacks go through, and then half of those go through. So you're looking at 20-ish attacks, which is great. And then they rend 1,
and
anti-cavalry,
anti-cav. So
that's huge. So if you're shooting into cavalry, which is typically going to be a 3 or 4 up save.
Yep.
Taking those down to a 5 or a 6.
Yep.
20 of those, man, that's great.
It is definitely one of the scary things to go up
against. If you're up against something like Gloom Spike Gits and you're hitting bounders with that kind of thing, the Boingard bounders, you're
those have?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Really?
Got me thinking now. I'm pretty sure Boingard bounders count as cavalry. They must do. They would have to, right? But if you're hitting the Boingard bounders with something like that, which are a fantastic unit, Boingard bounders are cavalry.
Oh,
I was sure they were, but yeah, you're gonna clear a unit of Boingard bounders with that, which is huge.
Even that profile into non-cavalry units too, like
it's still huge
or big things. It is. They are definitely worth the 170 points for that.
100%.
So there's that one.
And then the other idea I was kind of kicking around was to get the again weapons team, but with the flamers.
Yeah.
Keeping the flamers right behind a big blob of clan rats.
Yeah.
Because I know it's only 10 inches, but if I keep them directly behind anything that runs in it, they can shoot into combat. So even if you tie them up, they'll be okay because I can just unleash, do an overwatch on top of that.
Yeah.
So that's essentially almost 3 rounds of shooting, depending how it goes.
Whose turn it goes into, whether it's counter charges, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, it's definitely big.
With 2 rends, 1 damage, actually.
Which is great. Yeah. So, would you say that either the flamers, or not the grinders, the ones we were just talking about,
the scourgers?
Yeah, thank you. Would you say they're like some of your standout units that you think they're going to be like clutch in this?
Yeah, I do think the Warcraft list is definitely going to want weapons teams for sure.
Yeah.
The other hidden unit that I didn't see a whole lot of people running even in the list are the
grinders.
Gloriers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Gloriers are anti-infantry.
They look so good.
They are amazing. I mean, the only thing I wish for them was just. I mean, they have 2 health, but just give them a 5-up save instead of a 6.
Yeah.
That would be the. I can see why they're on a 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're kind of holding poison globes and stuff like that.
So yeah.
Super squishy, but it's 3s and 3s, 1 rend, anti-infantry actually.
And they get extra damage.
If there's if you're shooting into a blob more of 10 or more, it's D3 plus 1 damage,
which is huge. Yeah,
it's kind of scary actually.
Yeah. Because when we played with those, when you had them in the list and you were going into the gut rippers with those, man, I was actually like real worried because I think I don't remember at the time if you were running them reinforced. I think you might have been. So 10 plus
champion.
Yeah, but yeah, so you have the possibility of 11 damage. So it's 11 to 33 damage, is that right?
Yes, because D3.
Oh, 11, no, I guess it's 20 to 40, right? Because it'd be D3 plus 1 because I'm always running big blocks. So yeah, 10 damage base just off of the without even rolling dice, and then you've got another 10 on top of that to 30. So yeah, 20 to 40 damage off of a 180 point unit is crazy.
Yep. And the only thing that I'm kind of like trying to think about in the list is just the big hero. The deceiver is obviously the big rat right now that everyone wants to run because he can shoot.
Yeah.
They took away shooting attacks for the vermin lords.
Yeah.
He used to have the tails, but they took that out. So since he has shooting and since he can do that weird teleport thing, his utility is great.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in combat with you and I want to get onto the objective on a 4-up, I can just teleport behind you. So I can easily take objectives, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Run in with the Death Master and you can run, shoot, and charge.
That's great.
So he's definitely someone I looked into the list. I heard someone at the tournament was running Bankle.
Oh.
He has a spell that it just not a whole lot of mortal wounds, but it turns off command rolls.
Oh, that's
until the start of my next.
Turning off commands is great.
It's one of the things that really makes me contemplate the brain.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because it affects people a lot more than you think.
Oh yeah.
All of defense, all of attack.
Yeah.
And
I think I know who the answer to this, or what you're going to use for the answer to this. But what one unit do you want to see apart from the class and storm fiends that we've already talked about? What unit do you feel is like they're so close to greatness?
Oh, Giselles.
I thought that was what you were going to say because I really want Giselles to be.
We ran the numbers on them. They are so close to being so good.
Yeah.
And it's just their ability is you get an extra 6 inches if they don't move.
Yeah.
The problem is that they move 6. So like essentially, and they shoot at 18, so that it just kind of negates the ability to stand still. And their last edition, they were counted as artillery.
Yeah.
They had 1 shot, but I think their range was like something ridiculous, like 48.
Yeah, but it was in the 30s or the 40s. It was.
They had crit mortals.
Yeah.
1 shot, which is something that we were talking about. I would almost prefer they be 1 shot. If I can get crit mortals.
Yeah.
Their biggest problem right now is hitting on 4s.
Yeah.
They're snipers. Why are they hitting on 4s?
Right. It feels like they should either be 1 attack hitting on 2s or 2 attacks hitting on 3s.
Yeah.
And I feel like either of those would be fine.
Yep.
Because it should either be 1 attack, 2s and 2s, 1 rend, 2 rend, right?
2 rend. Yeah, they have 2 rend. So they are scary.
Yeah,
you know,
2 rend, 2 damage. Couple that 2s and 2s. So you got a unit of 6. So you've got 7 shots. That's great. With the engineer.
Yep. He does. Like I said, they have the potential to be very, very good, but they're just hitting on 4s is a lot swingier than people think. Because we tried them every way.
Yeah.
We tried them reinforced. We tried them not reinforced. So you did
the extra shots.
You know, and every single time, like I've seen them kill a breaker boss in around shooting.
Well, that's it. That was why we were like, oh, we should definitely include these, because it's such a good way to start Master of the Paths, because you have so many infantry heroes on the table handing out buffs that if you can ignore guarded hero, you can be, okay, that hero that is making that unit better, I want him gone. And, most infantry heroes are only 5 wounds. So, and like I say, you were able to pull out a breaker boss with very little worries.
Yep. But I've also shot them and I've done 2 damage.
Yeah, I mean, that was
with a reinforced unit.
That was crazy. I remember when I remember that game vividly, where the previous game you dunked the breaker boss, and I was like, damn, Gisele's for the win. And then the next game, because they're so swingy, they're hitting on 4s. You did 2 damage to my breaker boss, and then start of the turn he healed.
Yep. So and it was gone.
So and so you've gone from doing 2 wounds to effectively none, and it's 12 wounds to effectively none. It's crazy.
And like I said, Doug, they can be scary, but it's just they're just way too swingy, way too swingy. And essentially what I would really like actually is being able to either stand still, and so if you want to keep them on hitting on 4s, great. If they stand still, +1 to hit.
That'd be great.
Essentially, you know what I mean?
And I feel like the +1 to hit would be good, because then, if you are shooting into somebody that is -1 to hit, but you stayed still, it negates that. Then you can all out attack them, so that then you can still be the +1 to hit.
It gives the risk reward thing a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like they are if I want to hold them still, it puts them in danger of getting run into.
Because that's the thing with if they just stayed at 18-inch range, but you had to move them, that's great, because right now you have I'm going to hit way worse, but I'm going to be further away, versus I'm going to be closer, but I'm going to No, I think that's good. Like I say, I think Skaven are in a good place. I'm excited to. I mean, obviously I have a ton of them painted with helping you out. I'm excited for when I start running them more, because I definitely want to. Because I see so much in the army that you see all the time. I see so much in the army that I'm like, man, that would be really, really good. And I think that we both see things that people are like, oh no, these guys are great. That we're like, no, they are good. But what about the rest of the book? It's a pretty thick book.
Yeah.
There's
rat ogres come to mind for that. Everyone tells me rat ogres.
They are good. You just have to put so much work into making them really good.
You have to play so much around them. And don't get me wrong, I can see why. But again, I think their problem is that they hit on 4s and 3s again.
Yeah.
And the problem is that if I don't put anything into them, they just flat out die.
Yep. Because the amount of times that we would put rat ogres either a 3 or a 6 on the table, and then they would die to a non-reinforced squad of gut rippers. I'm like, man, that's what.
Or your bolt boys would get into them before they can make contact.
Yeah, the bolt boys drop, especially when I was back when I was running reinforced bolt boys. A reinforced unit of bolt boys is pretty scary anyway. But they would just pick the rat ogres apart, and then I would be like, oh, great, I don't have to worry about them anymore.
Yep. Yeah, essentially, if they were trying to get to you, that you would start picking them, and by the time I got to you, I went down from a block of 6 to like 2.
Yeah, and then 2 rat ogres. It doesn't matter how many buffs they have; they're going down.
Yeah.
So,
and then when they do get into combat again, it's so swingy with the 4s and the 3s, And I understand. I can bring back 3 of them if I run with 6 with 2. Guns essentially.
Yeah, which is definitely nice, because then you have, although the clubbing blows are not as good in combat, the shooting profile's great.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Storm Fiend, they don't have clubbing blows; they have the claws.
Oh,
the clubbing blows is the Storm Fiends.
Oh.
And they are pretty scary, but they kind of run into the same.
Yeah.
So 2s and 4s again. I'm not gonna complain, because a lot of the chaos stores,
sure,
are 2s and 4s. So when they go through, they go through. But it's like it's a very, very like either I'm gonna white face or they're gonna sit there and it's gonna kind of
because I remember there was a game that we played before we went to the Warfire Minis tournament, where it was the first game that we were like, what if we tried running
reinforced
Stormfiends?
And then we did Flesh Belt to give them the 5-up board.
And they were great.
Oh man, they take so much. That
they were expensive, but they did the work.
Yep.
Because that game, I don't even remember what the score was. We could look it up. But you took forever to kill off of everything.
And they ate Kragnos.
They did. Which is wild.
Gut Rippers.
Yep.
Not a full block, but a good chunk of them. What else? Didn't you have the guy the snagging thing?
Oh, the Gnash Tooth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, his profile isn't great, but that's another just an extra unit doing damage to them.
Yep.
And
I was like, damn, they're still alive.
Yep. I thought Kragnos was going to clean house, but I got the 5-up board on them.
Yeah, which is huge.
Yes, that 5-up board is.
So Kragnos, and I forget who I was talking to about this. I believe it was on Reddit, where Kragnos does one of two things every turn. He will either go in with a mop and remove everything he's next to, or he will whiff and die. That's it. There's no in between with Kragnos. He's either killing everything or dying.
Well, every time I fight him, he's killing everything. So I have not experienced the whiff and die part yet. I've experienced the whiff and him just kill me next turn, but I have yet to fully remove him off the board.
Yeah, and he's great. I love Kragnos. I'm really, really glad I picked him up.
So speaking, I know we were talking about Skaven, but to be fair with him too, you do have to play a little tactically, because I remember we traded armies and I thought I was like, oh, okay, now it's my turn to just roll 3 dice on the charge and get everything in and then take, wipe off the board. And I positioned so poorly with him that nothing got in.
Right. Because I think you got Kragnos into Screech?
Yes. Because I was running
Screech and the Clan Rats. The Clan Rats, that was one of the occasions. Of course, it was when you ran it. That was one of the occasions where Kragnos, he killed a bunch of Clan Rats, but he didn't kill them all.
No, and it just kind of came back, and you got Screech out of there because I couldn't get into contact with Screech, and it was.
Yeah, so I was able to kill Kragnos relatively easily because, although he is just and the Cruel Boys, and we'll talk more about them here in a sec. Although the Cruel Boys are, I want to get in, I want to smash, I want to kill. You've got a position in a way that you're actually able to do that.
Yes, because again, sometimes you can get into combat, but not everyone's fighting, and then you just run into a whole bunch of position issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I feel like that's what Skaven is really powerful in. They're not really the most killy army. They're not the most defensible army, but their movement is so powerful.
And movement is incredibly powerful in general.
You do want to play kind of a different game when it comes to Skaven.
Yes.
The 3 claw steps, being able to move in a hero's turn, it doesn't allow for poor positioning, but it does allow to trick your opponent into positioning somewhere where you don't know where I'm going to move next.
You can definitely outmaneuver with Skaven a lot easier than a lot of other armies. So Fire Slayers come to mind because they don't have a lot of movement tricks, but Skaven do. Between the Skid Leap with the heroes, between the Deceivers, teleport move with the knot holes, with all that kind of, and the tunnel grinders and all that kind of stuff. I feel like there are a lot of movement things that you can do with Skaven that other armies just can't compete with.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, of course they die to everything, but again, their special ability is movement. You know what I mean?
And if you can die to everything but score more points and still win.
Yep.
So
I haven't done it yet, but I'm working on it.
But talking about sort of similar things with Cruel Boys, where I think they are in the meta right now. They're obviously strong. They're top 5 in the I don't know whether top 5 in the meta representation, but they're top 5 in typical 4-1s, 5-0s, and just generally going positive at tournaments, which is great. And I wasn't meta chasing when I started running them this edition. It was, I had the army, they were painted, and I really liked running them in 3rd. And the changes seemed pretty cool. And I guess the Dirty Tricks rules are very good. So, it's definitely, they're definitely in a really strong place. And I think that all of their roster is useful. there's not, apart from Hobgrot Slitters, actually, I will say that the Hobgrot Slitters feel like they don't currently have a place, because for only 10 more points, I get a good ranged unit with the Bolt Boys.
Do they have a scouting move at least?
No, Hobgrot Slitters are just there to die. They used to be good. They used to be pretty good. They used to be able to run and shoot. They can't do that anymore. They can retreat after they fight at the end of the turn. If their retreat move was after they fought, they would be great, because then you charge them in, you do a little bit of mortal wounds, maybe a little bit of damage, then you retreat. And then, because you're moving 5, you're outside of combat. No, you still be in combat range. But, you kind of have that pull of units where if you're in combat with another unit, you can't leave that combat.
I was thinking that I think that's another thing that makes Skaven super powerful is I do not
Too
take
quick to hit.
mortals.
That's huge. Yep.
And again, that rat ogres are technically infantry, so I should be technically pulling them out of combat more. But now that you said it, like where they have to retreat, I'm like, that move doesn't sound as good, because even if you do retreat them, you still have to take mortals.
Yeah, but the too quick to hit, because most of your guys move 6, you can actually be out of combat.
Yes.
Which I can't do because my move is 5.
Yes.
So that's definitely big. But yeah, I feel like the Hobgrots they're okay. I wish that they were a little bit better. They don't need a better save. They don't need a better attack profile. Their special rule needs looking at, I think, which probably isn't going to change this edition. So I think this edition, I'm probably just not going to run them.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm fine with that. I don't know that I would change much else within the army. We've talked about this, and I think that the points are going to change very soon, probably this week.
But then you monster hunters.
Monster killers. The monster killers need to go up for sure. Probably everything's going to go up. I sort of wish, and I think this would be a good universal change, not from a hobbying point of view, but from a rules balance point of view. I feel like if they made the Warcry warbands unique, universally, across all armies, I feel like that would be a good change. That's my hot take. Fight me in the comments. But I know that there are a ton of people that have, they have 10 units of monster killers. They have the Riverblades from Lumineth. I don't know that anybody's running more than one plague pack for Skaven.
Yeah, they're not. See, that was my one complaint. I wish they would have kept the standalone plague priest.
Yeah,
that would have been very nice.
I would say he'll come back. I think he'll come back.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think he'll come back in the Skaven's new book in 5th.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot I can do. Like again, the plague pack is nice to have, 10 wounds and stuff like that. But I really wish I just had like a 50-point priest that I could just do it. And
I don't know, a 50-point priest. I don't think you'll ever get, because I think a priest should be around 100 points.
Really?
Yes, I think the ability to cast prayers or do spells, regardless of wounds, is a minimum of 100 points.
Compromise me and go with 80.
I would say 80 would be okay if you don't have much other utility. But just the ability to be able to cast spells and prayers, or chant prayers, I feel like you should be around 100 points.
Okay. I mean, like I said, Skaven prayers are pretty strong.
Skaven prayers are incredibly strong. I don't have any prayers as a crew boy.
Oh, okay. I guess I can see why. And for someone who doesn't have anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Iron Jaw's obviously got the War Chanter and all that kind of stuff. So there's that. But yeah, the crew boys meta is great. I wish that the monster killers weren't as heavily featured. I run one unit right now because I think that they're good, and the way that it worked out with the points of how I wanted to run it meant that having one unit in there was great. I feel like, because, like I say, they're a Warcry warband. So yeah, I'm gonna really look at the camera. Because they're a Warcry warband, they should be unique. What I think. And I feel like that should be a universal thing. Because they're technically semi-heroes, they're like, yeah, they should be unique. That's my hot take. And I think what's probably going to happen is they're going to go up to like 180 points. I think that monster killers are probably, the gut rippers are probably going to go up to like 160, maybe 180. Because right now it costs the same per wound for a monster killer as it does for a gut ripper. But monster killers are just better.
Yeah.
They have rend. They have the same movement. They hand out strikes last. Like I already have one source of strikes last from my army ability. So having just the option to hand out strikes last to monsters, is huge, and then turning off rampage is also huge.
Yeah, that does mess with your gameplay a lot when it comes. I mean, again, their specialty is killing monsters, so of course you want them to strike last and turn off rampages. But
yeah,
people don't realize how much they rely on rampages to do the special things.
And going back to the Warcry warbands thing, I saw a list which was all Sunblood Prowlers, and again, they're a fantastic unit. You should only have one of those. And then
I have no idea what those do, to be honest.
I remember looking at it a while ago, but I haven't dug deep into them. But they're very, very good for the points that they cost. They are very, very good. So yeah, and then Royal Beast Flayers, which are the Flesh Eater Courts, super, super good unit. Fairly cheap, but again, they should be unique.
It'll keep the spam problem down.
I think so, because you should have rank and file infantry for all of your armies. You should have a bunch of, but the specialist units like the Monster Killers, like the Plague Pack, like the River Blades, and all those guys, I feel like they should be unique.
If not, at least cap at 2. At least capped. If you want to appease people, just compliment it.
I think the problem is, and this is a outside of the game meta issue, is that a unit that's good is going to sell lots.
Yeah.
So you have Cruel Boys players that are running 3, 4, 5, 6 units of Monster Killers, and that's making somebody go out and buy 3, 4, 5, 6 units of Monster Killers. So they're selling boxes, and that makes good financial sense for Games Workshop.
Yep, I do see that.
I don't know that it does good for the game's ecosystem long term, because they will change it. They will make them to where you're not going to include more than one because the points cost, because they've changed the rule to where they're unique. So I think they've made a problem for themselves in that they have made them so incredibly good, so incredibly point efficient. So of course people are going to go buy them, and now they're going to have to change them to some degree, and how they do that and how they manage that, I don't know. And I don't think the people that are running 6 units of Monster Killers are under the impression, maybe they are, I don't think they're under the impression that that's how the army's going to be forever. Surely there's some sort of self-awareness that they're going to have to change that. So, I don't know. Talking about the Khorne AOR, and I know Charles ran into this issue where, he bought all the Deathbringers, and he was running the AOR exactly as intended, no proxies, no, he has like a full 100% legit army. Now that the AOR is not anything like as strong as it was, he now has 7 or 8 Deathbringers. 8's probably the best number he should have run. But he has 7 or 8 Deathbringers. He's never going to run that in an actual army, that's just not how that's going to go. And he has that problem which Games Workshop manufactured for him to fall into. And I feel like they've done that across the game with the Warcry Warbands.
So that it's going to be kind of not so much off topic, but for new people getting into it, that's why I heavily stress get the rule look cool.
Yeah.
As in, if you think the model looks cool, get it based on that. Because if you chase meta, you kind of run into the issue where you'll dump a whole bunch of money into it, and especially if you don't even like the way the model looks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the worst.
It's difficult too, because a newer player might buy a model that they think is cool, and then this happened to Charles too with Scar Bloodwrath and a couple of the other guys that he just bought. They went away 6 months after, not even 6 months, 2 months after he bought them, which sucks. So you have to have a very good idea of what you want to run, and then you have to just be okay with running it just with your friends, running it just with not in competitive play, or running it as something else, running Scar Bloodwrath as the champion of one of your units of flail guys. I forget their real name, the Wrathmongers. Doing that kind of stuff, which I think is great. But yeah, it definitely feels bad, and it's going to feel bad for a ton of collectors, because they've got so many of these Warcry warbands now that are not going to be usable in perpetuity because they've chased the meta, and that's fine. Hey, I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but
I mean, if it's good, it's good. If it's going to win you games,
well, that's the thing. And if you go into a major tournament like LVO or Adepticon or something like that, of course you're going to run the best units, because you're not going to give yourself a bad chance of winning, because of the rules are what the rules are. So yeah, I one of the things I think that they need to do with Cruel Boys especially, and Iron Jaws, is they need to split them. I think that in 5th it makes sense to have 2 books. I don't think that there should be an RX War Clan book. I think that there should be an Iron Jaws book, and there should be an Iron Jaws.
Because that allows you the ability to give them a little bit more focus and a little bit more extra rules without breaking the other half.
Exactly. I think that you should just expand both armies slightly. Cruel Boys would be nice if they had either a monster unit or a cavalry unit. So, a unit of Gnash Tooths in the same vein of having Flesh Hounds for Khorne. Or you just have Gnash Tooth Riders, which I think would
right now Ironjaw seems to have all the cavalry and the monsters, right?
Yeah, they got the pigs. They got the pigs, and they got the big dragon fellas. So there's
the almost the not dragons, but the big
the guy that Gordrax, right? Yeah. And then Cruel Boys, the Swamp guys. They've got a lot of monsters because we have the Marsh Crawler Sloggoth, which is a fantastic unit. We have Scumdrek, another fantastic looking unit. Some of the rules are
Vulture.
Yep. And then we have Kragnos in both armies, which I think is good. But I think that if they expanded those to be separate armies, that would be the way to go.
Because you can do more and still not break the other half.
Right. And it means that because Iron Jaws got shafted in this book. So, Iron Jaws are on the cover. Cruel Boys are not. So yeah, you have Iron Jaws on the cover, but all of their rules were basically the same as the index, which sucks because they should have had some dope rules. They should have had some really cool abilities to do, but they didn't get that. And I think that if they expand the range a little bit with Cruel Boys and with Iron Jaws, I think that would only be good for both armies. And I think splitting them out would be the way to do that.
This is going to be kind of weird to say, and it's a little off topic, but the Path to Glory rules for Skaven, the more narrative games, they are fucking so cool.
Yeah,
I really think that as a community as a whole needs to really look at the way Path to Glory plays.
Yeah,
because the Skaven ones, at least.
No, I agree.
Just on a topic, you can literally build your own Skaven hero that can ride, almost make like a Thankroll light, essentially, and that's so cool, you know what I mean? And I feel like that is the point of running, like, where you have your monster killer list and stuff, with 8 of them, because it's thematic, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
100%.
you're the custom army that you made is like, hey, my boys are straight monster killers, bro. Like,
we're that'd
running,
be great. Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then thematically speaking, it makes it all blend well instead of just from a competitive standpoint.
It would be great. I know that there is a book, I forget the name of it, that they released that was like the way to tie all of the paths to glory together. And I think that would be great. And I think that relies a lot on the local communities coming together and wanting to do that kind of thing. It's one of the things that we've talked about with a couple of the people here in the community is getting essentially a league going. And I think if you can tie the league to the path to glory, and if there isn't an existing path to glory for armies that don't have the book, like Fire Slayers, who else doesn't have a book right now? Mostly everybody has a book right now, right?
Yes, I think so.
Fire Slayers don't.
The cities have their book?
Cities have their book, I'm pretty sure.
Mall tribes?
Mall tribes don't have their book.
Still an index, because they might get a range refresh
for
their brand.
And then Nurgle don't have their book. There's quite a few. We don't have to list them all, but yeah, the ones that don't have their book, you just have to be okay in the community with either using last edition's one, or making up your own.
Yeah, I mean it's Path to Glory, so you can. That's the beautiful thing about Path to Glory, right? Like, if you don't like the way the rules are currently written or playing, and you're playing in a local community, make some house rules for it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then you can run your quote unquote bad models.
Yeah.
And you can make them good, and
Absolutely.
it's not going to affect everything as a whole. You know what I mean?
And I think that you can very easily go back to the old campaign supplements. I just bought that one from first edition, which I'm really excited to try out. Which, it comes with a map, it comes with cards, it comes with all the cool stuff that you can do. You can trade within the community for different resources to get more command points at the start.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
I know, right? All that kind of fluffy stuff is great. And I feel like doing that kind of thing as a local gaming community and as a way to bring people into the hobby and tying Spearhead into that is such a powerful way to introduce new people to the hobby, to learn what your army's all about, to have an incredibly thematic army that does the cool stuff that you wanted to do, that's powerful. And I think that that's something that the local communities across all of Age of Sigmar should lean into. As much fun as going to an RTT, rolling dice and smashing face with opponents is, I think that's a lot of fun too, right? I'm not trying to take away from that. But I think that if you've got like a local gaming group that can pull together a Path to Glory or a campaign like that, it just, I think it elevates the game.
I would almost want to, if I could, if it was bigger here, I would really like to, again, this is me just talking future, but I would almost like to run almost like a campaign where each store has like a different part of the map.
That would be great, yeah.
And then instead of doing like a tournament, like an RTT, essentially your team or your group could invade or go to other parts of the world. You know what I mean?
I know that that's something that in the way back they sort of had something like that, at least in Wales, where I grew up. Where, you know, different communities and different shops, because of course Games Workshop stores were a lot more play centers then than they are now. There was stuff like that would go on, and you know they have that at the launch of editions too, where you know basically you play a ton of games with your friends and then
it's like control what happens. Whether right. I think Skaven had that where whoever won got the new models, first. First and stuff like that,
which I think is great. And I think that you know if you do a sort of a smaller version of that at the local community level, I think that is incredibly cool to do. So yeah, the thing that I think with Cruel Boys right now is they're in a great spot. I think point change is definitely coming. I hope that it's not too severe. I'm gonna keep running them anyway. I really like the army, and you know, regardless of the changes, unless my gut rippers cost 800 points, I'm probably gonna keep running.
Gut rippers. So I really like the thing that gut rippers like. I know they don't have a rend. But the dirty trick to make 5-up mortals.
That's so good.
Oh my goodness.
That's what makes the army. That's where my damage comes from in the most part. Like obviously Kragnos puts out a ton, but you know, if I've got the Swamp Horde bullies, 60 attacks, 5-up mortals.
I cannot tell you how many things you have just walked up to me and you just like, okay, we're gonna roll the hit. Oh, these are all mortals, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna roll this. Just tell me how much damage and you pull out like 30 damage, and I'm like, even with a 5-up board, I'm like, I don't know if I want to roll that. We're doing batches of 3 or batches of 5. You know what I mean?
I remember that one time where it was on the Storm Fiends, and you were rolling your 5-up wards for that, and I think I did 20 damage. And then you rolled your 5-up boards, and 2 damage went through, and I was like,
"Oh yeah," because I was doing 3 at a time.
And I was like, "What the fuck is this? What is happening right now?
Yeah, I was doing 3
why are you?" The rolling them through the time was fine. That was whatever. But the fact that you took 18 of my damage, and then negated it on a 33% chance. I'm like, what?
So that's something I want to ask the community when it comes to that, because I know you said that 3 really doesn't matter, but I do feel like slow rolling sometimes, like for whatever reason, it might feel like it. So I'm gonna ask the community, how does it feel compared to rolling instead of rolling like 10 dice at a time? You know what I mean? Or then just doing like smaller batches at a time. You know, because
so the rules, I know the rules say to roll your dice 1 at a time. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
But then it talks about fast rolling, which is it's sort of a weird thing where slow rolling like that is somewhere in between, right? And I feel like rolling for every Storm Fiend is kind of fun. So like, let's say you got 20 damage, you roll it 6 at a time because there's 6 wounds, I think.
Yes.
That could be kind of fun. It was like, oh no, that guy lives, and then roll it again. Oh no, that guy died, and then doing it like that. It sort of falls in that weird area of like doing it like 40k, which is also kind of weird, I guess.
Yeah, because then the reason why 40k does that, from my understanding, is once your hero is attached to it, it kind of changes. Like,
and it's like, so let's say that you roll. You have 6 wounds and there's 20 damage, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna roll for the first guy. Okay, 6. Okay, he's still alive. I'm gonna roll another 6. Okay, he's still alive. Okay, he died on that one. Okay, so now I've just rolled 18 dice. There's only 2 left, so that's gonna go in the next guy.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for that, but like doing it in the.
And also, I think the heroes sometimes have different saves or different involves
for sure.
too.
Yeah.
So like, you really got it. It just, like I said, 40k is a little bit more complicated than that.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we're gonna kind of branch off. I know we're supposed to talk about Cruel Boys Skaven, but something we were talking about on the car ride home was someone mentioned about heroes attaching to units.
It was me. I wouldn't be surprised if in 5th they do something similar with what they have in 10th 40k, where I think that they'll do that in 5th. I think I could be wrong. I've got nothing to back that up other than vibes, and it's just with how they are writing heroes now, and how they're writing heroes for 40k. I think that it makes sense that they make that change. I don't know that they will. I don't know that I like that they will, but I think that they could. And I think that if they did, it could be good if they do it right.
It might be a little bit weird because again, with the wound pool damage bleeding over, you know what I mean? So they would have to be very careful, and the heroes would have to reflect the same saves as the unit they're joining onto.
And then it's going to mean that they're then going to add things like precision, like they have in 40k.
I you know, when they start talking about things like that, I think Age of Sigmar rolls a little bit faster.
Yes,
I have noticed definitely not a whole lot of rerolls.
No.
You know, for ones and stuff like that. I do appreciate that in Sigmar.
I think it's better. Yeah, I don't know that they will. I think that hopefully they don't, because then they don't have to bring in precision
and more keywords. That's just more things to remember. I do like the anti stuff. I will say that does add a little bit of flavor text to things. It's like best of both worlds, where you can make a unit a little bit more flavorful, and then if you really need to change it, you can just pull off the anti keyword and get rid of the red. You know what I mean? Like, it can fix things very easily.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's what GW should kind of look into a little bit, being able to quickly be able to adjust things on the fly and not completely have to redesign the whole.
I think that would be a good way to do it for sure. Pulling us back on topic, kicking and screaming. Cruel Boys versus Skaven. I think that we've run enough games before we went to Okala, which I think was a big learning experience for both of us. Not us playing the armies, but Cruel Boys versus Skaven in the meta. Who do you think, in general terms, is the current meta leader?
So I think the Cruel Boys, it really would depend on how they are playing them, so to speak. So for right now, with your Kragnos, you have a real good opportunity to alpha strike me and pin me.
Yes.
Which makes my job a lot harder, because again, for the weapons team, weapons teams have the ability that if they are within combat range of the clan rats, and at least 5 of them, they can't be seen to be shot.
And there's not another weapons team there, which is important. That's an important distinction, because you have 2 weapons teams, it doesn't work on either.
Yes, exactly.
That's a really important distinction to make for Skaven, because I think that that's an overlooked section of that rule. I know we said we were going to talk more about rules. Maybe we talk about that one real quick. I think that that's an overlooked part of the Skaven rule ecosystem. I can't think of a better word. To where you have to be careful with your positioning of weapons teams and clan rats, to where you don't turn off your own abilities.
Yep.
Because I'll try and pull it up on the screen as I do this. But let me pull up rattling guns, because I know that they have the ability, right? If this unit's within the combat range of friendly clan rats that has 5 or more models, and there's no other friendly weapons teams within that unit's combat range, then they're not visible to enemies more than 13 away. Again, I'll try and pull that up on screen so that you can kind of see it. But like I say, that's something that Skaven players, and I think only really Skaven players, have to contend with, is if you make a positioning mistake, you can turn off your own special abilities, which I think is fairly rare. There are not many other instances of that I can think of, to where if you make a slight misplay, or you pile in slightly wrong, or you redeploy in a bad way, or whatever, you open yourself up to counterattack like nobody else does.
Yeah. So Skaven, again, their positioning, their movement abilities is really strong, but also they're not beginner friendly in the way that you can hurt yourself.
Yes.
They're more prone to, if you do a misplay, you feel it a lot more.
Yeah.
Whether it's flat out dying, turning off your own abilities, it even makes it hard too, because again, what the comment I was going to lead up to that is, by the rules being like that, I'm going to want to keep my Scourgers within combat range is 3 inches.
Yep.
Right? So But if you look at, like I said, think I saw a Warfire Minis video where he was talking about how far back you want to place units to not get locked up in combat and all that, which is why I was saying for the flamers, that's why that's one of those units I was thinking of putting into, because they want to be in combat range and they can shoot in combat. So even if you lock them up, it's fine. But going back to your topic, it's really hard because again, the Scourgers, if I keep them, I need to keep them kind of close to prevent from the ball boys from getting into them. But at the same time, that means Kragnos can come in, lock up my clan rats, lock up my weapons team, and I'm not going to. The only way I can get my weapons team out from being under that is to retreat them, which I can retreat, no hurt to me. But I wish I guess that's one thing I wish the Arch Warlock or something. I wish instead of being able to fire Overwatch for free, it allows them to retreat and still be able to shoot.
I feel like that would be really powerful, especially coupled with the too quick to hit. Because, and for those of you that are not sure, too quick to hit is what we sort of talked about earlier, where effectively Skaven infantry retreat and don't take damage, which is huge.
And because, like I said, Storm Fiends or
so much is basically
ogres, infantry. So basically everything that's not a big giant monster is infantry. So that's pretty much 80% of the army.
The hamster wheels and the monsters are the only things that you do.
That are not. They're technically war machines, but essentially yes. So, but again, I think because of that's the way it's set up, I think Cruel Boys, depending on how you build your list, you do have an advantage.
I think so. I think you're right, because there's the Marshcrawl Sloggoth, which I mentioned earlier, which is a great model, great unit. Giving run and charge in a bubble, coupled with Kragnos for and you can vary because it moves 6, so it's quite easy to keep within 12 inches of a reinforced block of Gut Rippers. It's very easy to automatically move that. Automatically move the Gut Rippers 11 inches and move that to stay within range if you roll a run on that, and then have a 3d6 charge from Kragnos. So most of the time, if you deploy them on the line and the enemies deploy basically anything on the line, you're only 18 inches away. So you've then got a 7-inch charge with 3d6 and rerolls. So that is very, very doable.
Not only that too, but I mean, it's not guaranteed, but the fact that Cruel Boys do have a teleport, means they can keep up with Skaven in a way. Now, don't get me wrong, we have played a game, I promise you, it goes off on a 2-up, and we had a unit of Gut Rippers that for 5 rounds went nowhere.
No, and I kept thinking to myself, oh no, it's fine, it'll go off next turn. I didn't move them, it didn't go off, and I was like, it's fine, it'll go off next turn.
I don't know what the math probability of rolling a 1 every single time you needed them to teleport. It was crazy.
It's got to be like a 1 in 72 chance of
because
it happened.
They have that teleport. It makes it really hard because again, you can lock them up from the front, and then depending on how it is, you can pop in, because I know it has to be when they teleport. It needs to be close to a terrain feature.
Yes.
So, but depending on how you lock in, the way the maps are set up, terrain features are almost always on the side. So you can either lock them up in front and then teleport to the side of me.
Sure.
So either I need to now have a screen over there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It just makes the Skaven positioning really, really hard. It almost makes me want to bubble up, but then I get locked up into combat for bubbling up.
It's one of the weird things, because Skaven want to castle, but they're not a very good castle because they rely on movement so much. Whereas Daughters of Cain, who have an incredible amount of movement, also want to castle up, but they want to castle up until it's time to break out. So I played a game recently with Daughters of Cain, and it was the first game that I've played against them in 4th, and it was the first game that the guy playing them, it was Charles, he played with Daughters of Cain. So, it wasn't really a game. We was figuring out the army. And when we played, we sort of realized, oh no, you have all this movement. You have to go and tarp it. Then you have to bring these guys in. Then it's this, then it's that. And then it's, you have, and not linear because that's the wrong word, but you have a very sequential play order that you do things in to be like, all right, this happens very easily. Oh, I just hit the mic. This happens very easily. Once you've done that, then you pull the ripcord on these guys, then you send them in, And then by that time, all of the buffs are here now as well. And, you know, it's great.
Well, those can also get better the longer the game
Correct.
goes on.
Yeah.
Skaven, it's kind of almost the opposite, where the longer the game goes on, the more at risk you are.
Yeah.
Because since everything is so weak relatively, if I take it to turn 5, I guarantee you 80% of my models are already dead.
Yeah. Sorry, I just noticed something as well. We were talking about how it sucks that Storm Vermin lost their shooting attack, and you know the model has a pistol on the front cover of the.
Oh, it gets even better.
I know, but on the front cover of the book, the Storm Vermin is making a shooting attack on the very front cover of the book, and they still had the goal to remove it.
It's even better because if you look at the
model,
picture,
the model that they show,
he actually has a pistol too.
It's the model. Yeah.
Yep. It's.
I'll pull up a photo of it.
Literally on there, he has a pistol in his hand.
Yeah.
Literally has a pistol in his hand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the model that the front cover is modeled after, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just noticed that it's funny that they still got rid of the shooting attack, and they're showing it off.
Yeah. Right. It's supposed to be the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah, no, my cool as anything rat guys shooting the warpstone fueled pistols. Oh, cool! I'm gonna get that guy. Oh, he doesn't shoot.
It's kind of weird how
it would be. Do you know what would be a good rule for them to have is that when they're in combat, when they make a pylon move, they just do damage with a shooting attack instead of having a shooting attack.
I can see that.
That would be cool.
Like a quick pistol pull, but not really.
Yeah.
No.
Just call the ability like warpstone pistols, and when the enemy makes a pylon move because they are anti-charge rend anyway. When the enemy makes a pylon move, or when the enemy charges them, they get to do D3 damage. That would be a cool rule. Gets rid of the shooting attack because an 8-inch shooting attack is meh. But like just having a source of mortal wounds from them might be neat.
You know what's interesting? It's completely off topic, but I just realized something. How warpstone is the ammo that fuels these weapons, right?
Yeah.
But they also use it as drugs. So are rattling guns typically like cocaine throwers?
I think so. I think they're effectively trying to. I think they're effectively trying to fire all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting one to think about.
It is. Oh, so going to a little bit staying on topic too for Skaven heroes, I think that is the one thing that they definitely need to tweak a little bit. Again,
yeah.
For every other army, it seems like the heroes do provide such a good synergy for it.
Except mine.
Well,
I have one hero that I have Kragnos, but he's all destruction, so that sort of doesn't count, but it does. The rest of my heroes, there's only one of my heroes that actively buffs a unit in a way that matters, and that's the Swampcaller Shaman. Oh well, I guess the Myrmourn, but he's sort of different.
Don't you have one that provides a bubble with a ward too?
That's the Myrmourn.
Oh, but his problem is also he's slower than the other ones, right?
Yeah, it's impossible to keep up with everybody. So, but the killer boss, I have a similar problem with him that you have with the Claw Lord, except worse, in that he gives me +1 to wound if I use all out attack. Right. I already wound on a 3, so I don't really care about wounding on a 2 because all of my hits are basically mortal wounds anyway. You've seen what it's like when we roll.
Yeah.
I'll roll 60 dice and I'll pick up 25, 30 mortal wounds, and then I'll have 4 hits.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
that is a very strange.
It's wild. Yeah, and then the soggy killer boss on Nashtooth is great. You're never going to not take him over the other guy. I don't even know what the other guy does because he's.
I mean, that's like the soggy Brood Terror. So yeah, the Brood Terror.
Sorry, soggy for everybody that's unfamiliar is Scourge of Garan, which is the current GHB.
Which I'm really happy they did that, to be honest with you, because again, it's another way to introduce flavors.
Yes.
To the army. Because the regular Brood Terror doesn't have a 5-up ward at all.
Yeah.
He actually provides a -1 to hit within a 6-inch aura, and his points were overcosted, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
So them being able to introduce models that they already have, give them new rules, you know what I mean, is a great way to.
Changing them up definitely gives them more play in the army because, like I say, nobody is running a regular killer boss on Nashtooth. Everybody is only ever running the Scourge of Garan guy.
He's the one that teleports all over the place, right?
But only to board edges. But yes, still very good. Sorry, I keep hitting your leg.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, no, he's still really good. But the other guy just terrible.
So, but again, kudos to GW for being able to come up with the system to fix, like
I'm excited to see what Scourge of Garan looks like in the next one,
so are they gonna I hope they keep something because I know Scourge of Garan is gonna kind of go away.
It'll go away at the end of this GHB, and then in the new GHB they'll have, I don't know, the I'm trying to think of something for the guys from Gur. You know what I mean? That's what they'll have. Like assuming we're in Gur for the next one, it'll be the GOG instead of the SOG. Because it's Garan. I was like, wait, still G, but maybe they keep it as soggy. Maybe it's now the Scourge of Gur. so it stays soggy, but whatever. But yeah, they'll have something, or the assholes of Akshi. I don't know. There you go. It'll be something funny. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. I hope that they take the lessons learned from Scourge of Garan and this General's Handbook, and they just think of a good way to apply it to the next set of models that they're gonna do Scourge of Garan or Assholes of Akshi or whatever on the next set of models for the next season. I really hope that they do.
Well, it's a good way to kind of like playtest things when I mean, we just got the new edition, so we don't have to worry for the next 3 years. You know what I mean?
2 years at this point, I think. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I hope they don't always do an update every 3 years.
If they could definitely do more with Scourge of Garan and go longer. I think you're right.
Yeah. But it's also a good way to test things, you know what I mean? And then if like I said, hopefully they'll, after Scourge of Garan goes away, they would just update the Brute Terror rules to be like, hey, everyone left that 5-up ward, you know what I mean? I don't
think they'll do that. I don't think they will. I think that because I want Scourge of Garan Nashtooth to stay, he ain't gonna. I'm gonna go back to the terrible Nashtooth after this. And probably maybe next season I'll have like the asshole of the asshole. The Scourge of Garan equivalent breaker boss, but I won't have the Scourge of Garan killer boss anymore. And I think you got to find a way to be okay with the fact that your 5-up ward on your Brute Terror is going away.
Keep him. It makes him good. That was the only thing. So that when I saw that model, I loved the Brute Terror because I didn't have to help it at the time. I'm like, this thing is going to be so awesome. And then I saw his points, and I'm like, this thing is not awesome.
Yeah. Okay, I think that we've covered pretty much everything there. I think right now Cruel Boys are in a better place meta-wise and army-wise than Skaven. I think that that's due a change with the points changes and everything like that. Hopefully Skaven go down. I think Cruel Boys are going to go up. But either way.
I mean, to be fair, across the board, for balancing-wise, I did not play against anything that felt overbroken. It seemed like they like
we said in the last episode, I think the game is in a really good spot right now.
They gave us so many tools to deal with problems, essentially. You know what I mean? And if there's very, very, very little feels bad in this. You know what I mean? If there's a problem on the board, most of the time an army has some tools to deal with said problem.
Yeah, 100%.
Which again, in 3rd edition, I didn't play too many games of 3rd edition, but it did feel a little lopsided sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I think that's about everything we've got time for this go around. Next episode, I think we're probably going to be talking more about the lore of both factions, which will be interesting because I'm sure that'll be cool for us to be able to share with everybody. And we're not going to do a super deep dive on it. We're just going to talk a little bit about it. But I think that it's what makes the faction cool. If you don't have the cool lore that ties in with the cool rules, then you can just kind of play with empty bases and it doesn't make a difference. If all of the armies feel and play the same, or if they don't feel like the history and the cool stuff about the stories of the faction, I feel like that's what makes them set apart. So but yeah, there is currently a community poll up on the YouTube channel. So feel free to check that out. And if you want to hit like, subscribe, share, do all of the things. We should probably talk about that earlier on in the channel. The like and subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do it at the beginning, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah. Anyway, do it now if you've made it this far. If you have, thank you so much for sticking around to the end too. I definitely feel like the production setup that we have now is a little bit better. We did some work on the levels, just with the microphones and everything.
But again, let us know what we need to improve on. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely a learning curve. So, you know.
Yeah, we're definitely looking for the feedback. We want to grow the community. Keep an eye out in the next couple of days after this drops. The Discord server links will be in the description for the video. So, you know, we'd love for you to come on there. We plan to have some hobby hangouts when I can twist Rob's arm to get him at the painted table. There'll be live streams too with the hobby hangout stuff. And then the battle reports are coming. The problem is where we have everything set up right now, I've kind of encroached in the play area. So we do need to do a little work, which I'm also going to rope Rob into doing to kind of clear the table. And I made a very cool thematic and good looking table, but it's terrible for, it'll be terrible for streaming because I built a mountain, an immovable mountain on the table, which is like right where like half of the objectives are.
So awesome.
I know.
God, it's just hard.
Yeah.
My models fall off of it all the time.
Yeah, mine too. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for the first battle report because that's coming. And yeah, I think
we got everything, you know.
Yeah.
If you guys want to see something in particular, you know, want to go over rules, you want to talk about something in particular, just let us know.
Yeah.
We will we are open to everything.
Yeah. So scoring it up, I think that it's a major victory for Cruel Boys on this one.
I agree with you there.
Skaven came in a close second.
Yeah, I mean, you know, let's when we clear off the table, let me run that Warcog list and let me see how
I think that'll do really good. But yeah, thank you guys. Like I say, like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.